Hey, what is going on, you pesky Piplups? Today, I'm going to be doing a set review of the new Sun and Moon Pokemon trading card game set, Team Up. Yeah, so the set's coming out in a couple weeks, or at least pre-releases for it, and then it releases, I don't know the exact dates, but let's go ahead and get right into it. First card we got on the chopping block is Venusaur Celebi GX, 270 HP. First attack for Grass, Colorless, Poison Hazard, or Pollen Hazard. 50 damage. Your opponent's active is now burned, confused, and poisoned. So not actually too bad for a Grass, Colorless attack. You really kind of, lock down whatever you're hitting with burned, confused, and poisoned. Second attack, Grass, Colorless, 150 damage for that one. Solar Beam, and then the GX attack for Grass, Colorless plus Evergreen GX, 180. Heal all damage from this Pokemon. If this Pokemon has at least one extra grass energy attached to it, like additional to the additional cost. So it has to have grass, colorless to get the additional effect. Shuffle all cards from your discard pile into your deck. So I don't actually think Venusaur is very good. I don't think Venusaur Celebi GX is very good. The Solar Beam GX falls a little short of being able to knock out important stuff like Zoroark GXs, or even if you have a choice band, you're only doing 180. Can't even knock out like a Buzzwole GX. So I think the Solar Beam attack falls a little short. We don't have a ton of great options for accelerating grass energy as well. I mean, we have the whatever it's called, that doubles your, or the Venusaur. Is it a Venusaur? Yeah, the Venusaur that doubles your grass energy in play. Yeah, there's actually just not a whole ton of great options to accelerate grass energy right now. So like setting up back-to-back Venusaur GXs doesn't seem very reasonable. I don't think this card is great. It's all right. The first attack is actually probably the best thing about it, I feel like. GX attack is okay. Fully healing is nice. You do have 270 HP, so it's hard to get one shot. You'll probably be able to heal. And then like with a choice band, you can like one shot pretty much everything. But I think it falls a little bit short overall. I don't expect this card to see much play competitively. It's all right. Give it like a 3 out of 6 turnips or whatever. Beedrill line. We got Weedle. Nothing too special about the Weedles. The Kakuna's okay. If it has a grass energy, it takes 30 less damage with its ability Grass Bed. Nothing too special in the pre-evolutions, but then we get to the Beedrill, which I actually think is decent, and I think there's a possibility to make a deck around this card, like maybe like Zoroark Beedrill or something. Anyways, the first attack is the important attack, Destiny Barb for 1 grass energy. This attack can only be used when this Pokemon has damage counters on it. Both active Pokemon are knocked out. So that's actually not terrible for a trade-off of like using this to like KO a GX Pokemon or something really big. I could see something like Zoroark Beedrill and you play Rainbow Energy to activate the damage counters on it, and use Zoroark to just like be your main attacker, and then you run into something that's too big to knock out and you're just like, okay, go Beedrill. Like if you run into a Lycanroc, you can use the Reckless Charge, 90 damage, Choice Band DCE, one shot a Lycanroc. You run into something bigger like a Venusaur GX, you go, okay, Rainbow Energy. We're both knocked out. So I actually think this card has potential. I don't know the best way to play it. I have to play around with the card. But I think Zoroark might be a really, really good card for this Beedrill. Play like Zoroark, Beedrill, probably with the Rare Candy engine. I think evolving it up through the Kakuna would be a little too slow. Yeah, I think this card has potential. I think its best partner that I can think of as of right now is Zoroark. But it's there for sure. This attack is just really good, especially when we're going into a potential meta that could be filled with tag team GX Pokemon. Trading a Beedrill with worth 1 prize for a tag team Pokemon that's worth 3 prizes sounds pretty good to me. All right, moving on from the Beedrill, we got Paris, nothing good. Parasect, also not good. Yeah, not good. Execute doesn't really bring anything. Pinsir doesn't really bring anything. Shaman Prism Star is good, a very good attack for a basic Pokemon, but it takes double grass, and we don't really have a. The way it works is, let's see, Shaman EX or Shaman Prism Star, 80 HP. The attack is Flower Storm, 30 damage times the amount of basic energy attached to your Pokemon in play. So the problem with this is there's not really Pokemon to work around with this card. We don't have like a Grass Malamar or something like that to get a bunch of grass energy into play and then be able to use the Flower Storm for 30 times the amount of your basic energy in play when this thing requires 2 grass energy. So it's like, it's a good Pokemon with a good attack, but we really have no way to really utilize the grass energy typing to make this Shaman work. So Maybe in the future at some point, but I doubt this card will ever see much play. Moving on to the Charizard line, Charmander, Charmeleon. Nothing special really about these guys. Going on to the Charizard, Fire type, of course, 150 HP, ability, Addicting Drive. Once during your turn before you attack, you may put 2 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for 2 fire energy cards and attach them to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Its attack, Continuous Blaze Ball, Fire, 30 damage plus. Discard all fire energy discard all fire energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each discard you discarded in this way. So if it didn't put 2 damage counters on itself for the ability to trigger, I think this card actually might be decent. The attack's actually pretty good. We don't really have a great way to accelerate fire energy though. And then it like putting 2 damage counters on itself, bringing it down to 130 HP is actually a huge deal when it comes to like getting knocked out by stuff like Zoroarks and stuff. Pretty much anything. So yeah, I don't see this Charizard being very good. Probably ever. It's cute though. The ability is like really good. Like it's a very just strong ability. Like the value off the ability is very good. The attack's solid because you can like pretty much any attack that has like unlimited damage that doesn't have a ridiculous attack cost is usually pretty good. But it's a stage 2 that doesn't have that much HP, so I don't see this card being very good ever. Ninetales line, Vulpix, meh. Nothing new there. The other Vulpix are just better. Oh no, those are Alolan Vulpix. Alright, this is a normal Ninetales. Ninetales, 100 HP, Ninetailed. Invitation is the ability. Once during your turn before you attack, you may discard 2 fire energy cards from your hand, then choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and switch it with his or her active. The attack is Fire Colorless for 90 damage. Nothing special there. The ability is actually very, very good, but we don't really have a way to consistently trigger it. Like getting 2 fire in your energy in your hand and not wanting to attach one of them, and then being able to discard 2 of them. To bring up a Pokemon, it just seems difficult to pull off consistently. I could see this maybe as a one-of in like Blacephalon decks. If you already run the Ditto, you can just choose some games to evolve that Ditto into the Ninetales. It'll get fire in your discard pile, which is nice. But I feel like you won't very frequently have the opportunity to have 2 fire in your hand, as well as like have an energy attachment for your turn. So I don't see this card being great. That's the only deck I think I could ever see it being played in. But even then, like the situation to come up of being able to discard 2 fire energy while also getting your energy attachment for the turn seems like it's not going to happen very often. So I don't see this card seeing much play at all. Ponyta, Rapidash, I don't think there's anything in these 2. Moltres, nothing great. Litten, Torracat, we'll get to the their last evolution later. What's his name? I forget his name. Squirtle. Devastating place cards, no retreat cost, nothing huge there. 70 HP Squirtle is probably the better way to go. Wartortle, and then we get to the Blastoise, which is the big deal here. Yeah, nothing special about the pre-evolutions really. Blastoise, 160 HP, ability, Power Squall. Once during your turn before you attack me, you look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Choose as many water energy cards as you find there as you like and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle the other cards back into your deck. This is like a super good ability. I mean, you get to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, take all the water energy there, and attach it to a Pokemon. The attack is decent. Water, 150 damage. You do 30 to yourself. That's fine. This is definitely a support Pokemon. You're not attacking. You know, we're not trying to set up 4 Blastoises and start attacking with them. But I could actually see this card being pretty good. I think you could do something like a Blastoise, Wailord, Magikarp tag team kind of deck. Maybe Lapras, Blastoise, something like that. But I think the big one would actually be for sure the Wailord Magikarp tag team. That deck could actually just be good. Blastoise, Magikarp, Wailord could actually just be a very good deck. I could definitely see that being a very, very good deck. Finally, like you'd have enough energy acceleration to be able to set up Wailord, which is kind of the problem with Wailord. You don't Wailord Magikarp GX. You just don't really have enough acceleration in the current format. I played around with a little bit with like a Nag-Quag engine, but I think Blastoise could definitely get it there. So I think that's like the #1 combo for this card on the top of my head. Let me know what you guys think, but I think Wailord Magikarp is definitely the way to go with this one. All right, keep going. Psyduck, Golduck, nothing special on either of these. Staryu, Magikarp as well, nothing special. The Gyarados, 150 HP, 1 water energy, filter out, 30 damage plus, reveal the top 7 cards of your deck. This attack does 30 more damage for each water energy revealed. Shuffle those water energy back in your deck, discard the remaining cards. And then we got the Hyper Beam, 100 damage discard, and energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So second attack, not really good. I could actually see the first attack. I mean, you could, because you shuffle the water energy back into your deck, so you're basically just like hard thinning your deck, and eventually you can just like keep revealing 7 water energy. So I could actually see this being decent. I don't think it will be. I think it's a little bit too much required to consistently be able to pull something off with it. but it has the potential. The potential's there. I don't think we'll see it doing too much, but possibly. Lapras, nothing special. The Articuno, I initially read it and I was like, well, this isn't very good because it has to be in your active. The ability Blizzard Veil, as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to your benched water Pokemon. And then for water, Cold Cyclone, 70 damage, move 2 water for this one to one of your benched Pokemon. So at first I was like, I think this card is bad. At first I initially read it, I was like, whoa, this card's amazing, but I thought it could be on your bench. I was like, this card is broken. And then I reread it, I was like, oh wait, has to be in your active. So less good, but I actually still think it could be very good in something like I mentioned with the Blastoise Wailord. You send this up early on, and you're like, okay, here's my Articuno. You can't Guzma my Squirtles, you can't bring up my Wailord. You have to go through this first until you want to start Guzmaing stuff. And if you're just not going to start attacking, I'm just going to start attacking you with it with the Cold Cyclone, and you just like put 2 water on it, do 70 damage, move the waters back to your Wailord. So I think this card is actually really good as like a one of. You just send it up there, turn 2, turn 3, maybe you open it turn 1, maybe you get it out turn 1, whatever. Kind of slow down your opponent from being able to be too aggressive. Just be like, okay, got to get through this Articuno first. You can't just start Guzmaing up stuff and getting rid of my water Pokemon. And he has a reasonable attack too, and it conserves the water energy, which is the big part. If you have to like commit to water there to do 70 damage, and I don't know, maybe that's all it did, wouldn't be great, but it moves the water back, so you just get to keep the water energy in play as well. So I think this card is very good for any kind of setup water deck. You just push it up there early, it chills, and then you transition into, you know, whatever else you got going on, depending on what you got going on. All right, getting into our second tag team Pokemon here, I think we just passed over the Venusaur so far, and this is actually like a big one. One of the more hype ones, I feel like. Pikachu Zekrom GX, 240 HP, Lightning, full blitz, 150 damage. Search your deck for up to 3 Lightning energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon and shuffle your deck. And then we got Lightning plus Tag Bolt GX, 200 damage if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra Lightning energy attached to it in addition to the attack's cost. So if it has 6 Lightning energy on it, if it has 3, it just does 200 damage. But if it has 6 Lightning energy attached to it, this attack does 170 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So you can basically like draw 4 prizes in one turn with this card. You can KO their active. So they got a Zoroark GX in their active. You throw a Choice Band on there, maybe it already has a little bit of damage on it. You go 200 to your active, knockout, and then you go 170 to that Tapu Lele conveniently having 170 HP, knock out that on the bench, 4 prize turn, and maybe that just wins you the game or basically closes it out. So I think this card has, it might be too much. 6 Lightning energy is a lot to get on a Pokemon, so that might be too high of a cost. We'll have to see. There's a decent amount of Lightning support in this set. I could definitely see being able to pull it off, but it does seem like a lot. We'll have to wait and see on this one, I think. I think it definitely has the potential. The first attack, it takes triple Lightning. That's another thing. It's the cost for the attacks is super high. Like if it was Lightning double colors, a little bit better. If it was like, I don't know, double Lightning, well, that's maybe too reasonable. Triple Lightning, I feel like maybe is the appropriate cost for what the attack does, but it's like a lot for how fast the format currently is. We'll have to see with the Pikachu Zekrom GX. Has potential, but might be too costly. Both attacks are pretty costly. Definitely needs some more early game partners to get it going. All right, let's move on. Alolan Geodude, Alolan Graveler, Alolan Golem, all trash. Voltorb. He's alright, he's a Voltorb. Then we got the Electrode ability, or HP, 90 HP, ability, Energy Shaker. Once on your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve a Pokemon, you may move any number of Lightning Energy attached to your Pokemon to other Pokemon in any way you like. So I could see this card being decent if you can get, like, you know, just get a bunch of Lightning Energy in play. It could combo pretty well with the Pikachu Zekrom GX. And then you just get to move them all around how you want, set up, you know, certain attacks, certain plays. So I could definitely see this being a solid tech in a Lightning energy heavy deck, something like a Zekrom Pikachu GX deck. Definitely think it has potential. Nothing's really sticking out that seems ridiculously good right now, but maybe in the future something will come up for this Electrode. Zapdos, 110 HP, Assault Thunder, 10 damage plus if this Pokemon became your active Pokemon this turn. This attack does 70 more damage. So this card has been seeing an unreal amount of play over in Japan. They've had the card for a while now. I'm pretty thoroughly unimpressed with it, but it has been like just destroying the scene over there. So many of these decks are making, you know, their top cuts and whatever. It's like, it's insane how much play this card is seeing over in Japan. Like I said, I'm thoroughly unimpressed with what this card does, but I'm definitely gonna wait and see with how well it is doing in Japan. I definitely want to wait and see, play with it myself before I judge it too quickly. Seems like it could be good. Maybe as like a one of in like lightning decks, but with the amount they play it and how much their decks are based around it seems unreasonable. But you know, maybe they know something I don't. Definitely gonna give this card a try when it comes out, but my hopes are not too high for this card. All right. Got Mareep, Flaffy, Ampharos GX. This is another card that people are seeming to be hyping up quite a bit, and I don't actually really see it myself. First attack, power recharge, 30 damage. Put all Electro Power cards from your discard pile into your hand. Okay, that's pretty good. You could like play 4 Electro Powers down, do 150, 180 with a choice band. All right, that's pretty good. Then you get all the Electro Powers back, which is also really nice. Not too bad, but it still doesn't like one-shot stuff like Zoroark or Buzzwole or anything like that. Second attack, Lightning, 150, discard all Lightning from this Pokemon. Okay, so you could go Electro Power, Lightning, knock out something like a Zoroark. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit more reasonable than I thought, but it is a stage 2, is weak to fighting, which is just not a good weakness to ever have. I feel like as of late in the competitive side of things in Pokemon. Maybe in expanded it's fine, but in standard I feel like having weakness to fighting is just not good. And then the GX attack, 1 Lightning. Search your deck for up to 7 Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Absolutely terrible GX attack. And that's kind of like which makes me so iffy about this Pokemon. That is maybe the worst. It's one of the worst GX attacks that we have. Good thing it only costs a Lightning, because if it cost any more than that, I would... Oh my, it's insane. This GX attack is actually terrible. When do you ever want to get out a stage 2 Pokemon and be like, you know what? I'm gonna go grab 7 more Pokemon out of my deck and just let you hit my stage 2 GX that I just got out for free. You know, you can just go ahead and hit him. I'm gonna get 7 Pokemon out of my deck. Like, absolutely atrocious GX attack. One of the worst. Definitely one of the worst GX attacks in the history of GX attacks, which we haven't had. It's not that long of a history, but it's real bad. Really, really bad GX attack. I'm just gonna leave Ampharos on that. Blitzel, Zebstrika, Emolga. The Emolga's cute. I like the ability, 60 HP, Nuzzly Gathering. Once in your turn before you attack, you may search your deck for a Pokemon that has a Nuzzle attack, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So if you got a Nuzzle deck going down, definitely put an Emolga in there. Besides that, I mean, they're like, works good with decks that have a Nuzzle attack, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of play out of this Emolga, just because the Pokemon with the Nuzzle attacks just aren't great. It's not quite good enough. And then it has, of course, Nuzzle for 1 Lightning. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. I like that the card's coming out, but it's a little late. The potential for a Nuzzle deck was, I think, when we had Pachirisu plus the Nuzzle Pikachu in standard with the Raichu GX, and that is passed. So I don't think Emolga gets there, man. I don't think it's quite viable. Nothing here. All right. Tapu Koko Prism Star, I think, is probably the best card in the set by far. Like, I don't actually think it's super close. The card's insane. All right. Ability, Ancestor's Dance. Once during your turn before you attack, if the Pokemon is on your bench, you may use this ability. Choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and attach a Lightning Energy from your discard pile to each of them. Then put this Pokemon in the Lost Zone. Discard all cards attached to this Pokemon. The attack is Lightning Colorless, 120. Super irrelevant. The ability is insane. It's actually crazy. It's like one of the best abilities we've ever had on a Pokemon, I think. Or even if you go back to like Pokepowers and Pokebodies, whatever. One of the best. This card is insanely strong. The ability is insane. Even if it ends up not being played because there's not enough good Lightning Pokemon to combo with it, the ability is still crazy powerful. It's actually like I can't get over how broken this card is. To be able to put this on your bench and just get 2 Lightning Energy out of your discard pile and put them on 2 of your bench Pokemon is just crazy. It kind of blows my mind how good this card is. Maybe you just combo it with Tapu Koko, the Tapu Koko GX, and you just like, now you have a way to accelerate them without having to use like Naganadels or something like people have used in the past. And you just like, well, my Tapu Koko set up turn 1, and we're just switching between Tapu Koko for the rest of the game here. But yeah, I think this card is, as of right now, I think it's probably the best card in the set until I'm proven otherwise. Insane ability. Yeah, this card's crazy good. Definitely pick yourself up a Tapu Koko Prism Star ASAP when this card comes out. There's so many possibilities with it. Unfortunately, we might not have the right lightning Pokemon to make this work. Maybe there's some potential in expanded with it, but yeah, this card, it's even if it ends up not being played ever in the history of Pokemon, it's not because this card is bad, it's because there's no good lightning Pokemon to put with it. Crazy good card. Zorora, nothing good there. Gengar Mimikyu GX. I wish they just kind of hadn't printed this card or given it a different GX attack card, because I think the GX attack is actually going to be super annoying. Alright, let's get into it. Gengar Mimikyu GX, 240 HP, Poltergeist, 50 damage, or Psychic for Poltergeist, 50 damage, your opponent reveals their hand. This attack does 50 damage for each trainer card you find. So that's already like a pretty solid attack to start off. 50 damage per trainer in their hand, that's pretty good. And then we get down to Horror House GX, which is, I think, is the best part of this card. For one Psychic Energy, Horror House GX, your opponents can't play any cards from their hand during their next turn. So that's the really good part. The next part is just kind of like an added bonus effect, but I don't think you'd ever want to use this anyway. If this Pokemon has at least one extra Psychic Energy attached to it, in addition to this, whatever, attacker, you need double Psychic. Each player draws until they have 7 cards in their hand. So the reason this card is, I think the GX attack on this card is broken, is because you can pull off combos of stuff like Delinquent, Horror House GX. Okay, you drew for turn. You still have 3. Now you have 3 cards in your hand. Okay, I'm going to delinquent you again. Now you have 0 cards in your hand because you weren't allowed to play down a card. Any cards during your last turn, you weren't able to refresh your hand, etc. Yeah, I think is going to be very annoying in some lock builds of decks, especially in expanded. Maybe not so much in standard. We don't really fully have the tools in standard to make this thing broken, but I think this card is has an extreme amount of potential in expanded with simply just locking your opponent out of the game. Like I said, let's say your opponent goes first. You're like, okay, that's cool. You do your turn. My turn. Let's see, you have 6 cards in your hand, or whatever. 6 cards in your hand. Red card, Delinquent, Horror House GX. Okay, you drew for turn. Pass. Okay, New Stadium, Delinquent. Okay, you have a 0 card hand. Like, I wish they hadn't printed this card or given it a different GX attack. I think we're gonna have some major toxic problems with this GX attack in expanded. I'm not excited, and who knows, I'll probably be one of the people playing this card in expanded. I'm not gonna like it. I don't like that it's a thing. I don't think this should be a thing. This seems absolutely ridiculous for expanded. I am yeah, sounds pretty toxic. We'll see where it goes. Maybe I'm overreacting to this a little bit, but I think this is gonna be a problem. I think you're gonna be a problem, Gengar Mimikyu GX. Alright, Nidoran, Nidorina, Nidoqueen. Nothing special there. Nidoran, Nidorina, Nidoking. Nothing special on any of those. Tentacruel, Grimer, Muck. Nothing special on those. Marowak, Starmie. Got the Mr. Mime. 80 HP ability. The important part of this card: scoop up block your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on them. And any cards attached to this Pokemon can't be put into your opponent's hand. And then colorless for Cybolt, 20 damage to opponent if heads your opponent's active is now paralyzed. So like a nice attack if if you're in a pinch. But the big thing is the ability here, shutting off stuff like as far as I know, this will shut off stuff like AZ, Acerola, anything that would anything like that where you'd pick up your Pokemon if they have damage counters on them, you just simply can't. So the big thing is shutting off here is Acerola, especially in standard. AZ's and expanded. I don't know if this would see play in expanded at all, but in standard, I think it'll be a big time tech in some decks to shut off stuff like, Zoroark's playing down 4 Acerolas, Acerola, Palpat, Acerola. Play this there. Sure, they can go KO it, but then you'd rather have them go Guzma KO it, I'm sure, than play Acerola for the turn and just heal their Zoroark again. So big time tech card, I think, in standard for sure. Probably won't see much play in expanded. We got the other Mr. Mime GX, 150 HP, Magic Odds instead of Magic Evens. This Pokemon will be damaged by an attack. Prevent that attack's damage to this Pokemon if that damage is 10, 30, 50, 70, 90, 110, 130. You guys get it. All the way up to 250. Prevent the damage. Prevents the odd damage. Side colors breakdown for each card in your opponent's hand. Put 1 damage counter on their active Pokemon. Decent attack so you can actually do something. Colorless Life Trick GX healed all damage from this Pokemon. So like a reasonable dude. The Mr. Mime is nothing super special. Probably will see about as much play as the other Mr. Mime GX, which is very minimal, but I'm sure it'll have its moments throughout its lifespan and as a card. Nothing super special though. Nothing super special on Jinx, Cosmoem, Mankey, Primeape, Hitmonlee, Monchan, Manite, Omastar, 130 HP. Now I don't think this card is gonna be super relevant in standard, but people are actually super afraid of this card in expanded because of Maxie's The ability, Fossil Berry, as long as this Pokemon is in play. If you have fewer Pokemon to play than your opponent can't play any item cards from his or her hand. That's scary, man. That sounds really good. You know, you sit, I don't even know what you, maybe you play this with Buzzwole, and you're just like, one Buzzwole active with a fighting energy, and I'm gonna maxi out my Omastar, and now you can't play any items, because my whole field is an Omastar and a Buzzwole, Jet Punch. So I can see this. I don't think it's quite as bad as people seem to think it is, but I could definitely see it being pretty impressive. I think it has potential to be maybe too much, or maybe just enough to the point where it's like viable, but you know, you don't just lose when your opponent goes maxi out Omastar and they have less Pokemon in play than you. Kabuto, nothing super special here. The Kabutops, another card people have been talking about quite a bit lately, as they're already calling for the ban of Maxis. That's a big one. People have been calling for the ban of Maxis when these two cards got leaked. Kabutops, ability, Fossil Memory. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent can't play any supporter cards from their hand. And then the attack is Fighting Colorless, Rock Slide, 80 damage. This attack does 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So I don't think Kabutops is really anything huge to worry about. If it's active, they can't play supporters, sure. But the attack isn't really enough, I feel like, to like kind of pressure your opponent consistently out of the game. I feel like as long as they have something set up and hitting Kabutops, like you're trading evenly. It's 80, 20 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That's like not a huge amount of damage. I don't see this one being too big of a factor. However, the Omastar, I think, has the potential to be quite oppressive. We'll have to see how consistent some of the decks can be about getting it out and also keeping your Pokemon in play less than your opponents. That's also like a factor. Kabutops, not very impressed by. Omastar, definitely think it has a lot of potential. All right, Larvitar, Pupitar, nothing big there. Pancham, just a Pancham. Lycanroc GX, another Lycanroc GX. I wonder if they'll ever stop. Maybe this is going to be like Eevee EX, how they keeping them in format. I mean, at least the Lycanroc GXs are all different, right? And I actually really like this one. 200 HP, Twilight Eye. When you play this card from your hand to evolve to evolve a Pokemon during your turn, you may discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So this offers like another control aspect to a Lycanroc GX. I mean, you have like Bloodthirsty Eyes. It is like a control aspect at some point if you're controlling what you're KOing on your opponent's side of the board. You know, they have less of what they need. You guys know what I'm saying. First attack, Fighting Colorless, Accelerock, 120 damage, so very similar to Claw Slash, except 10 more damage, right? Claw Slash is 110. And then for Fighting, Radial Edge GX, 30 damage. This attack does 30 damage times the number of energy in your opponent's discard pile. So also kind of similar to Dangerous Rogue in the fact that whereas sometimes they'll just eventually fill their bench and Dangerous Rogue will one-shot anything, eventually they'll end up with a lot of energy in the discard pile, and Radial Edge GX will just one-shot pretty much anything, especially with the ability being able to discard energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. I actually really like this card. I definitely think we could see like a not necessarily control Buzzwole Lycanroc deck, but like Buzzwole Lycanroc, and you could play stuff like Crushing Hammers and Plumerias, and then maybe like a 3/3 Lycanroc GX line, and you just kind of like slow your opponent down while you're hitting them with Jet Punch early, and then you go into like your Knuckle Impacts and your Accelerocks. I could definitely see that being very good and actually super viable. So I'm actually a big fan of this card. I don't think it's OP in any means. I think it seems like a very reasonably balanced card, very strong card, but we need strong cards. You need more strong cards to combat the other strong cards. So I'm actually super excited to play around with this card. I think this card has a lot of potential. We'll see where it goes, but yeah, I'm excited for something like a control, not fully control, but like energy disruption plus attack your opponent Lycanroc GX deck. I'm excited for that. Alolan Grimer, Alolan Muck. The Alolan Muck seems decent, 120 HP. Starvation Rations. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may look at the top 6 cards of your opponent's deck and discard as many item cards you find there as you like, then shuffle the remaining cards into your opponent's deck. So I could see this being decent as like a one-of in maybe some Trash Avalanche decks. You evolve it off a Ditto or something, off your Trash Avalanche damage. Besides that, I don't see a whole ton of use for this card. But definitely has potential. I would like to see someone come up with something where they can really abuse the ability. The attack, Dark Colorless, Gunk Shot, 80 damage. Your opponent's active is now poisoned. Nothing super special. Yeah, so I can't come up with anything with this off the top of my head besides playing it in like a Trash Avalanche deck. And then when you have the resources to like kind of evolve this into the Ditto instead of a Trash Avalanche or something else, then you go for that. Potentially get your Trash Avalanche numbers up there to start taking one-shots. We'll see. We'll see. I can't come up with anything. I hope someone else does, though. Going down here. Absol. 100 HP ability, Dark and Illumined. You have to, yeah, as long as Pokemon is in play, your opponent's active basic Pokemon retreat cost is 1 colorless more, increases the retreat cost by 1. Nothing super special. Interesting ability. And then Dark colorless Shadow Seeker, 30 damage plus the attack does 30 more damage for each colorless in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Nothing super special with this one, I don't think. Interesting. Maybe has some potential with the ability and some kind of strategy to like lock your opponent's into the active. Spiritomb, 70 HP, Soul Compressor, colorless for 1 colorless energy. Search your deck for up to 4 Pokemon and discard them, then shuffle your deck. Hollow Shot, 1 colorless, 20 damage. Potential in stuff like a Night March or a Vespiquen deck. I don't think we'll see play. It'll see play though. Just not quite strong enough. Kind of like almost like a waste of a turn as well. I'd rather Sky Return and Shaman for my turn, I feel like. Zorua, Zoroark. The Zoroark, almost very good, but its attack cost is just too much. 110 HP. First attack, just a Dark Energy Taunt. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, nothing great, and then Dark colorless, 20 damage. This attack does 20 damage times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile to a maximum of 10 cards. So you can do 200 damage with this, but it costs Dark colorless, and we don't have any really way to excel Dark Energy. Maybe an expanded this could see play, but I doubt it. It's still a very costly attack. Yeah, attack is just too costly. It'll be way too hard to chain them back to back. So almost very good, but not quite. Vullaby, Mandibuzz, nothing. Panguru, Yveltal. 110 HP, Dark Derail, 30 damage. This card is special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Pretty good first attack. And then Dark Clutch, 60 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat your opponent's next turn. Also, like a pretty good utility card in a Dark deck, which we are getting a lot of support for Dark Pokemon in this set. But I don't see this being super great at all, actually. Hoopa GX. Kind of just don't even want to read over this one. Let's go for it. 190 HP, Dark Ring. Search your deck for up to 2 Dark Ring for 1 Dark Energy. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck. So basically, nasty plot. Never really saw much play before. I don't think this is that great right now. Dark. 160 damage. This Pokemon can't use Dark Strike or Dark Strike. Can't use Dark Strike during your next turn. So 160 damage for 3 Dark. Not great. The GX attack actually is pretty decent. Dark. Devil Hand GX. Choose 6 of your opponent's Pokemon GX and EX and do 30 damage to each of those Pokemon. You may choose the same Pokemon more than once. So you get to basically put 30 damage 6 times on your opponent's Pokemon. So 180 damage wherever you want in increments of 30 on your opponent's GX and EX Pokemon. So not that great. Maybe in some kind of spread deck if you could eventually set this up, I guess has potential, but probably won't see play. Incineroar GX, 250 HP, ability, Scar Charge. I need to sneeze. During your turn, before your attack, you may put 3. Excuse me. Before your attack, you may put 3 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for up to 3 Dark Energy and attach them to this Pokemon on the shelf of your deck. So it sets itself up once you set it up for its energy costs, but the attacks actually aren't that great. Colorless, Crushing Punch, 130 damage. Discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. It's pretty okay. Darkest Tornado GX, 10 damage plus the attack does 50 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So the GX attack is okay. You put 3 damage counters on yourself already, but overall the attacks are just kind of lacking in damage. Even though the trade-off is that once you set it up, you just use its ability and then he's set up to attack immediately. But the attacks just don't quite get there, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be able to dish out enough damage consistently to actually do anything consistently. I might be wrong. You can maybe play him with like max potions and energy recyclers and just keep using your ability and recycling the energy and max potioning it and heal it and then put the energy back on that attack. That might be a way to play around with it, but I don't think that's going to be quite enough to be able to get him into the competitive meta. Skarmory, nothing special. Jirachi, super good card. Maybe the second best card in the set, in my opinion. 70 HP, Wishing Star. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may use this ability during your turn before your attack. You may look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose 1 trainer card you find there, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. This Pokemon is now asleep. Attack, pretty irrelevant, but Metal Colorless for 30 damage. At least it does something. So the ability is insane. Top 5 cards, take a trainer card, goes to sleep. We have a skateboard. It has 1 retreat cost. If a skateboard's attached to it, it's no longer asleep, and you can just move it. Yeah, I think this card is super good. I think Jirachi is insanely good. Not going to work in every deck, but I think it will work in quite a few decks and just be a super strong card. Like, it's just really good. That's about all I got to say on it. Just really good. Definitely pick up some of these guys for sure. Bronzor. 50 HP. The important thing about this one is the ability Head Start Evolution. This Pokemon can evolve on the second player's first turn or on the turn you play it. So even if it's like your third turn in the game, you play this down, you can immediately evolve it to a Bronzong. I don't think will be super relevant in Standard because we don't really have any good Bronzongs. But in Expanded, this card actually might be really good with the Metal Lynx Bronzong. Where you can just get the Metal Energy just compile out and put it on your Pokemon, and you can just play this down immediately and evolve it immediately. Less fear of just losing the Bronzor immediately, and for sure getting value out of at least like one Metal Lynx with that Bronzong you evolve onto it on the turn you play it. So amazing Bronzor, but even in Expanded, especially in Standard, even in Expanded, I don't think we have quite powerful enough Metal Pokemon and Bronzongs to really justify playing Bronzong still. But if Bronzong ever becomes really good, this Bronzor is by far the best Bronzor. Going to the Bronzong, 130 HP. Heat Proof is the ability. This Pokemon takes no damage from your opponent's fire Pokemon. Could be cute as like a one-of tech in a deck where you struggle to deal with fire Pokemon. Either put it on a Ditto or you play like a one Bronzong, just play it down in one turn. Definitely has potential. The attack is Metal Colorless. I'm going to stamp 70 damage. Your opponent's active is now confused. Nothing too special, but at least you could do something with it if your opponent can't hit you at all. Nothing great. Ferrosteed, Ferrothorn, both irrelevant. Pawnard, Bisharp, also irrelevant. Cobalion GX, 170 HP. Metal Symbol. As long as this Pokemon is in play, your opponent's Pokemon with Metal Energy attached to it can be affected by special conditions. Remove all special conditions on those Pokemon. So if special conditions are a problem and you play Rainbow Energy or Metal Energy, you probably play a Cobalion GX. Metal, Dual Saber, 50 damage. Plus, if there's a Stadium card in play, this attack does 60 more damage. Nothing super special at all about that attack. And then we have the Iron Law GX during your opponent's next turn. None of your opponent's Pokemon can attack, including newly played Pokemon. So if you need a stall for a turn, the GX attack is nice. It attacks for a colorless, so you can play it in a whole bunch of decks potentially. And then yeah, the Metal, it's basically a tech like if play Metal Energy or Rainbow Energy and special conditions are a problem, tech in a Cobalion GX. That's probably the most use we'll ever see out of this card. Honedge, Dual Blade, Aegislash, nothing great there. Klefki, nothing great there. Alolan Ninetales, it's okay. 110 HP. Ability Luminous Barrier. We pretty much already have this Ninetales in the water form run. I think it's actually like the exact same thing. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage. Oh, it is exactly the same thing. Done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX. Very Colorless, Aurora Beam, 80 damage. So yeah, we already have this in water form. I don't think it's going to see, we didn't see much play in that. I don't think it's going to see much play in the fairy form either. Yeah, I don't expect a whole lot out of this one. Mimikyu, nothing great there. Latios GX. Oh, this Mimikyu is actually just a reprint of the Filch Mimikyu. Yeah, nothing super special there. Latios GX Tag Team. Water, Psychic Colorless, Buster Purge. 240 damage, discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. And then we have its GX attack, Arrow Unit, Psychic Plus, attach 5 energy cards from your discard power to this Pokemon in a way you like. If this Pokemon has at least 1 extra energy, in addition to its attack cost, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon to your opponent's next turn. So the GX attack is actually pretty good. The first attack is super costly, even if you pretty much one-shot everything. It's still super costly. I don't know how you're actually going to be able to consistently use this or even set it up with the cost of Psychic or Water and Psychic. So I don't see this card being very good. I'm open to being proven wrong, but yeah, I don't expect a whole ton out of this one. We got a Alolan Executor, nothing special there. Dratini, Dragonair, Dragonite, nothing special. In any of those cards, we get to the Eevee Snorlax GX Tag Team, 270 HP, 1 colorless Cheer Up, attach an energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, reasonable first attack. I actually think this card is actually pretty decent as long as you can set it up. I don't know the best way to set this one up off the top of my head. Maybe something like Blastoise actually. Blastoise, the one we looked at earlier. Dump Truck Press, 120 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, this attack does 120 more damage. So you're basically one-shotting all evolutions in the format. You're one-shotting the Zoroarks, which is like the biggest important one, I think. You one-shot like Gardevoir. The attack cost is 4 colorless, which is like the hard part to setting this thing up. So I think you'd have to pair it with something like maybe a Nagquag engine. But I think most likely something like a Blastoise maybe. I don't know. This card definitely has potential though, I think for sure. The GX attack is Megaton Friends for 4 colorless again. 110 damage if this Pokemon has at least 1 extra energy attached to it. So 5 colorless. Draw until you have 10 cards in your hand. So you're doing 210, so you're basically just like kind of one-shotting something big that's a non-evolution card, and then you drop to 10 cards, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a better big wheel if you can set it up. So yeah, I think decent card. I don't know quite the best way to utilize this one to set it up, but I think we could definitely see some play out of the Eevee Snorlax GX. Pidgeotto. Pidgeys are pretty much irrelevant. The Pidgeotto, 60 HP, little light on the HP, but the ability Airmail. Once on your turn before you attack, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose one of them, and put it into your hand. Put the other card on the bottom of your deck. So that's actually a great ability. We had this a while ago with Uxie level X. We're getting it now here again with the Pidgeotto. Only 60 HP. He's going to get knocked out by a lot of stuff very easily. But I could definitely see this being tucked in as a lot as a one-of index that have Ditto in it. So you already have the Ditto, so you may as well play a Pidgeotto stage 1. Especially when there's like matchups where you just don't need whatever your other evolution lines are. Put a Pidgeotto in play, get some more consistency throughout the game. Definitely could see this card seeing a lot of play in just a lot of decks. Pretty much any deck that plays Ditto. Pidgeot, nothing special. Meowth, same thing there. Persian, nothing special. Farfetch, Kangaskhan, Tauros, Aerodactyl, Lugia, Zangoose, nothing special on any of those. Getting to the first trainer cards, we got Bill's analysis. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal up to 2 trainer cards you find there and put them into your hand, and then shuffle the other cards back into your deck. You can only play 1 supporter card per turn. I could definitely see this card being decent, especially with Electro Power. You could just go play this, dig, find 2 Electro Power, one-shot your opponent's active. So I think this card has potential, but it is a little slow. I almost feel like you'd rather play like a Cynthia or something for turn and see 6 new cards the majority of the time. So I feel like maybe Bill's analysis is a little slow. Maybe it's like a 1 of or 2 of in certain decks where you need to dig for specific trainer cards, like in rare candy decks maybe. Or like I said, like maybe it's good with Electro Power decks. I'll have to wait and see on this one. This is definitely one of those cards where I don't know for sure. I'll have to play with it before I see how I really feel about it. See if it's actually worth playing at all. It might just be too slow in general. We'll see. We'll see on this one. Black Market Prism Star. You can't have more than 1. When a dark Pokemon, yours or your opponent's, that has any dark energy attached to it is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, that player takes 1 fewer prize cards. So this stadium is actually just like super powerful in general. The requirements: dark Pokemon, dark energy, a little high, so it's going to be hard to fully utilize it. It's not going to be able to fully utilize in many decks. Something like a Sable Garb or Sableye Limitation deck. I think this has potential in those, but I don't think any like more lock-based decks. I think this card has a lot more potential, but can just kind of be bumped by any other stadium. It's a little iffy. Definitely not going to see a whole ton of play just because of the dark Pokemon plus dark energy requirements, and even then, who knows how much success we'll see from it, because it can just be pushed out by another stadium card, and then that's kind of it. Brock's Grit, trainer card. We've had it before. It's coming back. Shuffling any combination of Shuffle 6 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your card into your deck. I'm actually super glad this card's coming back. I think it's just kind of nice to have a supporter that gets a whole bunch of resources back into your deck. I think it's just kind of a good thing to have. So yeah, Brock's Grit, glad it's coming back. It won't do a whole lot. It's not a huge impactful card. We don't have Super Art anymore, so it's nice to have something that can get back Pokemon and energy though. So yeah, glad it's back. I don't think it's going to be too big of an impact on the format or meta or anything like that, but it's just kind of nice to have a card like that in the format. Buff padding attached to a Pokemon tool rule. This card is attached to, if the Pokemon this card is attached to has a retreat cost of colorless, its maximum HP is increased by 50. So that's actually like a huge boost of HP. 50 HP is a lot. Not too many cards can utilize it. They need 4 retreat costs, but those who can will definitely be playing this. I think pretty much any deck that plays a card that has 4 retreat costs will be playing the buff padding, get that extra HP in there. It's just 50 HP is a lot, so I definitely think you'll be seeing a lot of play in this. As long as decks that are relevant that have 4 colorless in the retreat costs, I think this will be seeing play. Dana, this card can't be played unless your opponent's active Pokemon is a stage 2 Pokemon. Search your deck for 2 cards and put them in your hand. I think this card is just like bad. First of all, your opponent has to be playing a stage 2 deck. They have to have a stage 2 out in their active, which doesn't happen for usually maybe sometimes 2 or 3 turns, definitely 2. So it's a dead card for most of the game, and then you finally get access to it. And then that means they have stage 2s set up, which means you have to deal with those. Which means I mean, also means that they were kind of slower early on, so you should already be like set up to deal with them. So picking any 2 cards out of your deck simply to play against stage 2 decks doesn't seem very good. I think this card is just bad. Dangerous Drill. You can play this card only if you discard a dark Pokemon from your hand, discard a Pokemon tool or special energy card from one of your opponent's Pokemon, or discard any stadium card in play. So the cost of this card is what kind of makes it bad, in my opinion. That's kind of just like hard to set up. You'd have to be playing a dark deck, and then this would have to be better than playing Field Blower, but I still feel like Field Blower is better. I guess you can get rid of special energy, but the cost of having to discard a dark Pokemon from your hand kind of makes it seem like it's not worth, and Field Blower is still just a better way to go than this. Yeah, not super impressed by this card. I don't think it'll be seeing much play, especially because I don't think dark Pokemon are still that great. I think we're going to be waiting a little bit for dark Pokemon to be good, and even once they become good, I don't think this is going to be a card that's going to be included in the decks. Electro Charger, flip 2 coins for each head, shuffle an Electro Power card from your discard pile into your deck. So super strong card, and I think definitely a card that Lightning decks have been missing to make them good. Like we've had Electro Power for a while now, for quite a bit now, and we still haven't seen cards like, or decks like the Tapu, like Aurora GX or Tapu Koko GX really be good at all, even though they got Electro Power. And I think it's just because they don't have enough Electro Powers to kind of like go throughout the whole game and be able to constantly like one-shot stuff like Zoroarks or big attackers like that. But I think with Electro Charger now, they actually might be able to get there, and they actually might be able to keep up every single turn with being able to one-shot big stuff like Zoroarks, like I've been saying, or like I'm saying. So I actually think this might be the card that makes the difference for those type of decks for sure. We'll see. I think so, but you know, you never know. Erica's Hospitality. If you have 6 or more cards in your hand, including this one, you can't play this card. Draw cards for each. Draw cards up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon in play. So I think this card is actually just insanely broken. And I think we did need another good, solid draw supporter in the format, but I don't think this was the answer. I think this card is too good. I mean, most of the time we're gonna have 5 to 6 Pokemon in play, 1 active, 4 or 5 bench Pokemon. And getting under 6 cards in your hand is not hard. Like, I think this card is actually just too good. I think this card is too good. I think it's going to be like the amount of the combos, and like we're going to be hitting like stuff like 4 Beast Rings just casually now because of this card now. I'm not a big fan of this card. I think it's too strong. I wish they had put more restrictions on it, or something like that, or just not printed this and come up with something else for a draw supporter. I think this one's going to be a little, this one is just too strong. I'm not happy about them printing Erica's Hospitality, which is just a reprint of Steven's Advice, I think is the old card. Yeah, not happy about this one. Evelyn, supporter. You can play this card only if your opponent's active Pokemon is a stage 1 Pokemon, or draw 4 cards. Similar to the, what card was it? Bill's Analysis? No, what was the other card we looked at? Oh, the Dana. I think it's just too limiting. There's just better cards out there, like Erica's Hospitality. Just play this and draw 6 cards instead. I'm sure you can play down one other card out of your hand and get to under 6 cards, for sure. Yeah, Evelyn, just kind of worse than stuff like Cynthia, and now Erica's Hospitality. Shouldn't see play at all. Fairy Charm UB, prevent all damage done to your Fairy Pokemon's card is attached to by attacking your opponent's Ultra Beast GX and Ultra Beast EX Pokemon. So that's pretty good. I didn't actually know this card was coming out until reading it right now. Prevents your Fairy Pokemon from being hit by Ultra Beast. That's just pretty strong. Very good card. If there's enough Ultra Beast in the format, put it in your Gardevoir deck or whatever. Seems strong. Grasp Memory for Zavali. I still don't think Zavali will be tier 1. It's nice to see it get another memory now. It's kind of taken him a while to get all the memories out. Ingo and Emmett, support a card. Look at the top card of your deck, then choose one. Discard your hand, draw 5 cards. Or discard your hand and then draw 5 cards from the bottom of your deck. You can't play more than one supporter. I think it's okay. Once again, I don't think it's better than the options of like Cynthia or Erica's Hospitality, so I doubt it will see play, except in like very specific scenarios where a deck like can somehow mess with the bottom cards of their deck. But yeah, I don't see this seeing much play at all. Jasmine, search your deck for a metal Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you go second and it's your first turn, you can search your deck for 5 metal Pokemon instead of 1, then shuffle your deck. I think this card is actually really good for metal decks. I don't know why you wouldn't just play it as like a one-of. If you go second, Lele turn 1 for Jasmine, 5 metal Pokemon. I think the problem is metal Pokemon just aren't that good right now. We don't really have anything. Maybe an expanded with the new Bronzor, Metal Links plus Metal Links Bronzong, Jasmine could see play, but besides that, I don't see this card being very good at all. Judge Whistle, choose 1, draw a card, put a Judge card from your discard pile into your deck. So the first effect, just draw a card, is actually really good. when you're playing like a combo deck, just being able to go 1-for-1 is just really strong, because it basically means if you play 4 of these, you're basically playing a 56 card deck, because you do just play that and draw a card. So when you're playing a combo deck, something like a Zoroark Exodia or something like in Expanded, this card is actually insanely good. So yeah, this card is just really good. Trading off the 1-for-1, similar to Acrobike, but you don't have to discard the other card, which is nice sometimes. You don't have to add that variance into your build. So yeah, super solid card overall. I don't think we'll see it combo with Judge, the Judge card, very often, but I think for the first effect of simply draw a card, we'll see this card see play. Lavender Town, once in your turn before you attack, during each player's turn before their attack, that player may have their opponent reveal their hand. Interesting card, very good with control decks, and I think it could see play definitely in control decks. You don't really care if your opponent sees your hand as the control deck. At a certain point, your opponent knows everything that you have in your deck because you've been sitting there and, like, I don't know, junk hunting with Sableye, resource managing with a Rangaroo, but being able to see your opponent's hand and knowing whether or not you want to do stuff like Skull Grunt or not, stuff like that, is super powerful. So I definitely see this card seeing play in control decks. Maybe less so in Expanded because we kind of have better stadiums, but in Standard for sure I could see this card seeing play. Get some more calculated, timely Skull Grunts. Metal Goggles, the Metal Pokemon this card is attached to, takes 30 less damage from your opponent's attacks, and your opponent's attacks and abilities can't put damage counters on it. So similar to Metal Frying Pan, but instead of getting rid of weakness, their attacks and abilities can't put damage counters on it. So stuff like Feather Arrow can't be Feather Arrowed. I still think Metal Frying Pan is probably better overall to not have the fire weakness. But if the format shifts, the Metal Goggles do become better. If there's no Blacephalon in the format, the Metal Goggles become better. All right, Morgan. This card can't be played unless you discard Dana, Evelyn, and Nita from your hand. So already this card is bad, I'm going to tell you that. I haven't actually read what it does. Look at the top 12 cards of your deck. Attach any energy cards you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. So maybe there's like some extreme combo where you pull off the Morgan, discard a Dana, Evelyn, and Nita from your hand. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this card is just bad. The cost is too much for the effect, and I don't see this card ever seeing play. Yeah. Nanu, choose a basic dark Pokemon in your discard pile, switch it with one of your Pokemon in play. Any cards attached, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, and any other effects remain on the new Pokemon. So it has potential in a dark deck. I don't know when you'd ever want to take a different Pokemon out of play and switch it with a basic dark Pokemon. Like if you either have a basic dark Pokemon, which means it should just be the one you want, or you have like a stage 1 or stage 2, which means it's probably stronger than your basic dark Pokemon. There probably is something that's like decently reasonable to get the basic dark out of your discard pile into play over something else you have in play, but I don't see it being super relevant ever. Yeah, I don't see this being that strong of a card. Maybe in Expanded there's some combo you can pull off with the Nanu, but I think in Standard we're kind of lacking options to make this thing relevant. Nita, you can play this card only if your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic Pokemon. Put an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon on top of their deck. So I think this card is super good in lock and control decks. Let's say you're playing against a Buzzwole deck and they go attach Jet Punch, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take that energy and put it on top of your deck, or maybe go Trick Shovel, control the top, just discard 2 cards, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna put that energy you attached back on top of your deck. And they're like, okay, draw it, attach, attack. And then you're like, go to your turn. I got a Rangaroo. I'm like, Max Potion, Trick Shovel. Nita, put that energy back on top of your deck. And you just know their top deck every single turn. And then if they just don't attack you, you're like, okay, well, you didn't attack me. Like, you didn't attack for your turn. That's still great for me. Like, so I think this card, another card I kind of wish they had in my print. I'm getting kind of tired of control decks being as strong as they are. Another card I kind of wish they just didn't print is Nita. Pokemon Communication. Reveal a card in your hand and put it on top of your deck. If you do search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Super glad they reprinted the Pokemon Communication. I think it's a very balanced Pokemon search card when we kind of need a little bit more of that in the format. So super glad they reprinted it. Super glad we're getting it this set. That's how I feel. Feels nice. Return label. Put a card from your opponent's discard pile on the bottom of their deck. Not quite sure how this card would ever be really that good. I'm going to let someone smarter than me come up with a combo with it, though. Sabrina suggested your opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a supporter card you find there and use the effects of that card as the effects of this card. So I think this card is just bad. Why wouldn't you just play more supporters of the supporters you want? Play a Palpat instead of this card. You never know what your opponent's going to have. I guess very situationally, it's very good, of course, but to get into those situations is too much, so bad card. Unidentified Fossil. Plays card if it were a 60 HP basic Pokemon at any time during your turn before you attack, you may discard this card from play. Oh, so they're bringing back just the put into play fossils. Or have we had this for a while now? I don't actually know. So yeah, this is what's going to allow fossil decks like the, was it Kabutops and the Omastar be viable potentially. But I think as evolutions, they're not going to be viable. I think we're still looking at Maxis as being the main source for the fossils to be good. So I don't expect too much to come out of this card. Viridian Forest, once during each player's turn, that player must discard a card from their hand. If they do, that player searches their deck for a basic energy card, reveal it, and puts it into their hand. Then that player shuffles their deck. So pretty solid stadium overall. Just card a card, get an energy out of your deck. That's pretty cool. I like it. I don't think you'll see much play. I can't really think of a deck where I'd rather have this over any other stadium, but who knows? We got some new decks that are coming out. Maybe in like a lightning deck. Discard random stuff, get your lightning energy, make sure you get access to those. So I can see this being decent for sure. Nothing off the top of my head right now, but once it comes out, play around with it, see what I think. Water memory, yeah, another memory for Silvally. Get the water type now. Still don't think we're seeing that much out of Silvally. Wondrous, Labyrinth, Prism Star. The attacks of your fairy Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, cost colorless less. So fairy support stadium, that's kind of cool. Fairy Pokemon aren't that great right now. The best fairy Pokemon is kind of Guardy, which you just want more energy on, so this doesn't do anything for Guardy. I guess your Ninetales can now attack for just a fairy energy, which is actually kind of cool. So I can see this card actually seeing play in like ZDT or pretty much anything with Ninetales, I guess, like even like a Buzzwole Ninetales Lycanroc deck. It's kind of like a free energy for turn, so that's never bad. So I actually, you know, this card's pretty good. I can see this card seeing quite a bit of play, like pretty much any deck with Ninetales that can attack with Ninetales. Probably should play one of these. Yeah, card's pretty good. I like it, actually. The more I've thought about it, and after reading it again, I read this card before. I like it. I like it a lot more, actually. Yeah, it's solid. Nothing too special. It won't be. It's not like a broken card. Definitely not going to see it in like every deck. Not every deck plays fairy Pokemon. Solid card though. I like it. And I think we're just down to the full arts now. So that's going to do it, guys. That is me looking at every card in the set. I skipped over a lot of them, but a lot of them are just useless. Still think Tapu Koko Prism Star is just the best card in the set by far. I don't think it's close. I'm kind of disappointed that Gengar Mimikyu GX is a card, and then a couple of these trainer cards for control decks are also cards. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be pretty annoying. A lot of the GXs look decent. They might all end up being bad. I think it's definitely possible all of them are just bad, except maybe Lycanroc. I think Lycanroc might just be good no matter what. I can see the Eevee Snorlax just being bad. I think the Mr. Mime is probably just bad situationally. This is bad in standard, I think, for almost for sure, but an expanded... Oh, man. Well, I've already ranted on that one. Best card in the set by far, I still think. I think Tapu Koko Prism Star is actually just insane. So look out for that guy. Ampharos, Zekrom. We'll have to see. Blastoise. Where's the Blastoise at? Blastoise got potential with the Wailord, though, I think for sure. Wailord Magikarp GX. And then Venusaur. One of the cards, the more I've thought about, one of the cards I'm super hyped for, I really want to try Beedrill Zoroark. It's going to be one of the first decks I try with this new set for sure. Alright guys, that's going to do it for my set review. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for watching. I know I've been a little bit slow on the content recently, and I'll be a little bit slow continuing until next week. I got Dallas Regionals this weekend, and I'll get back into streaming, uploading YouTube videos regularly starting next week. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, give it a like. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are you most excited for from this set? What are some of the combos you're looking forward to testing out with some of the new cards? Have a good day. Thanks for watching, and peace.